This is a concept comparison table I'm going to be doing with my 6th graders in a few weeks, and I just wanted to walk you through it so you can kind of see how I've structured it. This is the student copy that they'll be receiving, and I've included an image that's going to be the central image for this idea. At the top we have here the thinking steps, which spell comparing, and they walk you through each of the steps along the way. You also have numbers in these boxes, and I know they're very difficult to see, but they walk you through the correct order for doing one of these. And then over here on the side I have the Spanish translation of the thinking steps, and I got that by using this add-on called Slides Translator, which is really easy to do. You just click on the text box and it will translate to the language of your choice. The other thing that I did is to make it a little bit easier to get the kids to type where I want and not have them get rid of text boxes and things like that. I used the layout tool, and I picked the one that had just the click to add title, and then I just copied and pasted that box all over the place and changed the size and the color and the font so that all they literally have to do is to click and they can start typing there. So a couple things just to make life a little bit easier. Alright, so this is a presentation that I'll do with the students. Our topic or our concepts are limited and unlimited government. So this will be our first concept comparison table, and I'll introduce it by explaining that it's like a Venn diagram, but it goes into a lot more depth. We are going to be comparing and contrasting two concepts, and I'll have to explain to them what a concept is. And since 6th graders are not great at writing summaries, I'm going to go ahead and explain to them that this is also a really easy way to write an excellent summary that will make your teacher happy. Then I will go through the comparing steps with them, and we're going to do this very teacher directed. Later on in the year, hopefully they'll be able to do things a little bit more independently, but for right now, because this is a new structure that we're learning, a new device, and also because they have almost no prior knowledge of government, I think it's going to be important for me to walk them through this learning this time. So we will start out by communicating the targeted concepts, and I'm going to do that using an image. So I'm going to ask them to look at this picture and then compare these two guys as far as their relative strength, the relative strength of these two batteries, and then connect that up to the idea of limited and unlimited government. So those will be our two concepts. Then the overall concept, which we need to obtain, that's what the question mark is for. So we'll be trying to figure out, well, what are both of those things about? They're both about government power. So that will take us down to making a list of the known characteristics, and the kids will be following along. So they'll now be at this point where they'll be writing down some characteristics. Now this is the part where I'm probably going to have to give them a lot of information or sort of lead them to the answers. But if we were doing something more familiar to them, then they could fill it in. There's a picture of it. From there, we will go to the like characteristics. So they'll take all the information that they have in these two boxes. Like, for instance, each of these is describing a system or type of government, and they'll put everything that these two have in common in this box. So they are looking at characteristics here. This is really hard for kids because now they have to take these characteristics and they have to put them into categories, and they're going to need a lot of guidance here. So I'm going to help them split up their ideas here into some larger categories. Then we'll do the same thing with unlike characteristics. And then at that point, we will also make our categories. So they'll have categories here and categories here. So then we get to the big money payoff, which is the summary. So at this point on their copies, the students will click to add their summary, and I'm going to give them this tool along with these sentence starters to help them write a really good summary. One thing that they're probably going to tell me, even though I think I've kind of broken them at this point, is that they can't fit it all in the box. I'm going to tell them or remind them that it's electronic and we're not printing it, so they can write and write and write and fill up way beyond the limits of the slide, and it's totally fine. However, the summary itself would actually be pretty short if they follow this structure. So they look at certain boxes in order to come up with this statement, and it's really looking at the categories, and that's why it's so important for you to spend that time helping them take characteristics and collapse them into categories. So they take the targeted concepts, limited and unlimited government. They are both whatever we put for our box 2, and then the like and unlike categories, they are alike in that they are both blank and blank, however they differ because blank. So that way they can write a really strong summary using some academic language. Then the extension, going beyond the basics, is really just how does this apply to my life, or how does this apply to something else that we're going to be studying, or anything along those lines, and that is usually the product of some discussion and maybe some inferencing by the students. And that's a concept comparison table. Thank you.